Wade and Wade reacts.
This is our review for Dune Part 2. We're going to tell you the good, the bad, and our nitpicks. So let's get into it.
Dune started off right in the midst of the action. You saw the main character and his platoon in the middle of the battlefield with their ear to the sand, listening for enemies approaching. Then the enemies came into the area where the platoon was, and then they broke off into their respective areas. So that was one of the good aspects of this movie. The movie was well shot, well directed, and the story was almost told perfectly. Had some compelling enemies. They had their own unique and particular motivations, and some even lower level enemies had their own aspirations. So the character development was just top notch. And the special effects were so good that the environment almost looked real.
Yeah, I agree with that. If you're a fan of the first movie, if you're a fan of Dune, period, you will enjoy this movie. You should go and see it. It's meant to be watched on the big screen, so don't try to watch this on a pirate website or watch it on a friend's Fire Stick or anything like that. Go to the movies to see this.
Yeah, definitely.
The special effects were beautiful. The scenery, the way that it was shot was beautiful. Denis Villeneuve is a master when it comes to directing and storytelling, visual storytelling. He is a master. And I have to say that I liked everybody in this movie. All the actors did a tremendous job. Whether it was Batista, Zendaya, Timothée Chalamet, Josh Brolin, just the list goes on. This cast was beautiful.
And they all had great on-screen chemistry. There was never a moment like, dang, that scene was kind of awkward. I think everything flowed, for the most part, everything flowed pretty well.
Yeah, I'm gonna get into that, but yeah, like you said, it flowed pretty good. And one thing I like you said, the evil villains, I like the Harkonnens, I like the Sardaukar, I like the Emperor. Just everything about even the...
was the Baron.
Yeah, the Baron. The Bene Gesserit too, man. Those old women.
They're nothing to play with.
Yeah, I even like them. And speaking of this movie, the action set pieces is really good. Like we said, Denis Villeneuve, we can't give him enough praise. This movie, as far as this being better than the first one, I will have to agree. This movie is better than the first one. It's a lot to be. The first one left a lot to be desired, and this movie delivered on whatever you wanted to see in the first one.
Sure did.
So let's get into the bad.
One of the things I found to be bad about this movie were the scenes that dragged. And they didn't just drag for about 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Some of the scenes, in my opinion, dragged for like 30 minutes. And if you're kind of sleepy, or if it's late when you're going to see this movie, man, you will fall asleep. I fell asleep and took a 20-minute nap, and thankfully I did, because that gave me the energy to stay up and watch the rest of this movie. But that was the only bad I found. It had some really boring parts, some parts I think should have been cut down a little bit so that the story could have kept going at a pretty moderate pace instead of going fast and then abruptly slowing down to the point where it was boring.
Yeah, I agree with what you said, but I have a little bit more to add. That character chemistry, I did not believe Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet was in a relationship.
That's true.
It just wasn't believable. But, they still did a good job in presenting it, but I just didn't buy that. And then the action scenes, they were good into the third act. That last battle, when the Fremen just say, you know what, I'm tired of y'all. We got the Moedim now. We got our prophet, our Messiah. We're going to run up on y'all and just get y'all off our planet. That fight scene should have been drawn off. I go back to Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Man, the build up to that last battle was amazing.
It was.
And then when the battle actually happened, it was amazing.
Yeah, it satisfied you.
And how the battle ended was even amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, they could have did a lot more with that battle scene.
They definitely could have. They had no formations. The whole military, the Emperor's entire military, was in one area on the map. We know realistically if a politician or a king or somebody of high standing comes to a particular place, his military, his guards are going to survey the area first. They're going to surround the perimeter to make sure nobody gets in to this area to harm the emperor. And they're going to have the guards, of course, in the area that they were in, but they're going to be everywhere. They're even going to be miles out to make sure their emperor is not harmed. We didn't see any of those precautions or strategic measures taken by his military in this movie, and I thought that was kind of fake. Didn't make any sense to me for their defenses to be as easily breached as they were.
Yeah, I didn't like that part either. That to me, that's the third act. This movie was good enough, but if the beginning to in the middle part wasn't good, and I just got that third act, this movie would have ruined the movie for me. Yeah. It was visually stunning. Don't get me wrong, the giant worms coming down and eating up the side of the car, that was cool. But then once they got into the battle, I was like, I wanted a little bit more out of that.
And that's another problem. You know this place has giant worms. You didn't prepare for this?
Nah.
You didn't have any fleets, any air support that could have saw these worms coming and just blew them up? I mean, come on, y'all.
Yeah, that's why I was looking forward to something like that happening. You know, a little bit. It seemed like that last battle was given to the Fremen too easily. I thought that the Emperor and his forces would put up a better fight than, because they came down full force. They was ready to fight the Harkonnen if they wanted some smoke. They was ready to fight the Fremen because they definitely wanted to smoke the Fremen, but they came prepared, but it wasn't enough.
Nah.
So let's get into the nitpicks. You have any nitpicks, you know?
I did. When Paul Atreides caught the fade with Fade, I didn't like how that fight went down. It was choreographed well. They had some stuff in it. I was like, dang, when Atreides hit that corkscrew, when Fade tried to flip him, that was nice. The knife combat, the footwork they used in this scene was nice. But I didn't think that Fade should have put up the fight that he did against Paul Atreides, given that, yes, he had training, but he only fought opponents that were drugged and half dead, completely malnourished. He fought a man who was not drugged, but he was held in prison. We know they probably deprived him of food. But he had a hard fight with this guy and only won because one of the guards stepped in and stabbed him in his back, caught him off guard. So if he can't beat these people who were completely malnourished and almost destroyed, how in the world is he going to match Paul Atreides, who has been fighting and fighting for all this time in the real battlefield with opponents who were well-trained and not drugged?
And trying to kill you, too.
Yeah, exactly, and trying to kill you.
In their right mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was cool with that fight. I like you said, I think Paul Atreides should have had an easier time going against him. But my problem was, that wasn't even my problem. My problem was Gurney versus Gabon. Man, that fight was so anticlimactic because I was on the first movie, I was like, is he as good as Gurney and Duncan Idaho when it comes to his knife and his sword skills? And I was thinking, like, who would win if he fought Duncan Idaho? Man, Duncan Idaho would kill Gabon if he would have met him before he met his end. And then Gurney killed him with like 2 swift moves. He dodged his attack and stabbed him. I'm like, man, nah, that fight was trash too.
And then Gabon had the worst strategy. When he found out, what'd you say he was on his what? On his job?
Oh, he was on his final.
He was on his final, so he started scrambling to impress his employer, his master, the Baron, so that he could keep his position. He knew his position was in jeopardy. So he does the smart thing. He hits the Fremen with an airstrike, which was smart. But he only hits the front of the mountain that they were hiding in with the airstrike. The dust rises, of course, from the explosions. But guess what this man does? He gets out of his ship before the dust settles and goes down to look for his enemy. Like, man, you should have hit first. You should have hit the entire area with the airstrike before going down there, because when he got down there, the Fremen came out of the smoke and started tearing his platoon to shreds like it was child's play. It's like, man, that was the worst strategy that you could have come up with. You should have hit them 3 times over with airstrikes and let the dust settle first before you went down there. And that made it seem like he wasn't an experienced commander. Yeah. He had no business being out there. It's like he just got the job or something.
I agree with that. So from a scale from whack to masterpiece, where do you rank this movie?
I would say this movie is not whack. I can't say that it's a masterpiece because I didn't get that from it. It was not like the Fellowship of the Rings or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it was really good. I will watch it again to pick up certain parts of the story that I possibly missed, just to gain a little bit more understanding of the world of Dune.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this movie a good as well. Like you said, it wasn't whack and it wasn't a masterpiece. You know, it was certain things that needed. If that last battle would have been epic,
oh yeah,
and they would have gave the movie like 10 more minutes, this would have been a masterpiece in my eyes. Mm-hmm. But that is what was messing up the movie for me. Just that last action scene, it needed that extra punch, and I would have been like, "Oh my God, this is the best movie."
For real.
But hey, they didn't have that. So I'm going to go with good. And another thing for you Dune book fans that kept saying, read the book. I will be checking out the book now that I have seen the movie, because I didn't want to read the book and then watch the movie and be mad.
Yeah.
Because
that would happen too.
Yeah, the movie is never what the book is.
True.
So now I will be going to the book. So that's been our review. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this video. And we're out of here.
Peace.